And we are live. We are live on our Facebook. Yay. I want to record this so that everything,
we're live.
Okay. There we go. All right. So good morning, Anthea. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Christina. How are we today? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And good morning to everybody in the group.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
So exciting. We always love going live and sharing things with you guys. And feel free to comment. Anthea will be manning the comments and monitoring, I should say. So our topic is...
I will indeed.
Thank you. I think there's a little delay, so I never mean to talk over you. It's just technology. So our topic this morning...
That's all good. That's all good.
Okay. Our topic this morning is why self-love is the key to attracting love. And so where do we want to start, Anthea? I kind of think we ought to start at, what is self-love? I think people have some, what I call bugaboos about loving themselves, that, they have trouble doing that. So what is self-love?
Well, self-love, it's really, I think it's setting boundaries for yourself. It's having, it's been able to put yourself first to a certain and not care what anybody else thinks, in the sense of, as long as it's acted out in a positive manner. I think, like, by being able to feed yourself well and not, like, give yourself that love that you need, as in the health. There's many different aspects to self-love, Christina. I'm just going through looking for a document quickly. So if I can just pass it back over to you for a second to continue with that, while I just find, if you don't mind, I do apologize on that.
No, not at all. So, one of the things I think self-love is the same as loving somebody else. It's the joy and appreciation of who you are, without judgment, without all of the stuff that we heap onto ourselves based on society and all of that. I think self-love really is about honoring yourself. And one of the things that I think is very much a bugaboo for people is that when they think of self-love, they think they're being selfish. And a lot of times, there's a big difference. People will put others first because they're afraid that if they put themselves first at any time, that they're being selfish and people won't like them. And that's really kind of backwards, in that, the thing that we always say, I know we've said this on other lives, is putting your just like they say in the airlines, if you have a kid next to you, put your oxygen mask on first and then put it on your kid. Because if you can't breathe, how are you going to help your kid? So if you're not loving yourself and giving yourself the kind of respect and appreciation and care that you deserve, then you are less able. You can't give from an empty coffer.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
absolutely. And I totally agree with that, Christina. I mean, look, when it comes down to, there's a, we're just saying there's a difference between selfishness and self-love. Like, selfishness is when you're not even, when you're just doing things just for yourself. And like, I just said, okay, you put yourself first, but there's you got putting yourself first in a positive way, and then selfishness. And selfishness is just not caring about anybody or anything, not having no empathy, no nothing towards anybody, and just kind of doing everything just for you and only thinking of you. I mean, like, look, I'm a mother, you're a mother. We know that there's through raising children, we although you will put our oxygen mask on first, we will do more for our children than what we'll do for ourselves. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost as mothers within that kind of within that dynamics, because they're not looking after themselves, they're not thinking of their health, they're not thinking of feeding themselves well, or taking those walks that they need, and taking that time out for themselves. And I think when you're taking time, I think this one's really important for self-love, is to really take that time out for you, to understand what your needs are, what your desires are, who you are in this world, and you know, what you can bring to yourself and what you can bring to others. And I know a technique that I want to add into here that I have started to do for myself is every morning is look in the mirror and say to myself, and look at myself and really like in my eyes and say, Anthea, for every part of me, rather than having that look at myself to say, oh, I don't like myself, because if I don't like me, then how can I expect to get on or have others like and respect me? I have to respect myself first.
Mm-hmm.
And with selfishness, it's a whole new ball game, isn't it? It falls into the category of more how can I say, like, you're just looking out for you and you only, and that's it. You know, if you're in a relationship, let's say, and somebody says to you, well, you know, can you just make something simple? Like for us women, we'll say, can you put the toilet seat down? And they go, no, why should I? You know, that's selfish, because you're sharing something with somebody. And if they're asking you to do something that will benefit you both, in the sense of it's going to make you both feel better about that situation, let's say. I know that's a really crazy thing to come out with, but it's just what came to my mind. But if you're saying, no, I'm not going to do that, that's selfish. But self-love is taking that self-care and having those boundaries for yourself. So somebody oversteps the mark in what your own boundaries are, you know where they're at, you know your boundaries, and you know to be able to step up the mark for yourself to say, well, actually, I don't like that, or I don't agree with that. And it's either going to be respected or not. But at least you can set the tone from there, and you know your next steps because you set those boundaries. Would you agree?
Well, yeah, I do. And what I want to say is, you know, when you don't set boundaries and when you put others first at the risk of your own well-being, you are not loving yourself. When you don't take time for self-care, you are not loving yourself. But I think the other thing is that people, why they dislike themselves and why they don't feel self-love is that a lot of people are not connected to that feeling of love in a deep way for themselves, because they've been programmed by people saying mean things, or dwelling on mistakes of the past, running it over and over in their heads, so that it creates this feeling of, well, how can I love myself? Look at so and so over there, and comparing themselves to others. And that is death to self-love, because
Yes.
the only person to compare yourself to is your performance from yesterday to
Is
today.
yourself.
And yes, exactly. So how does this affect attracting love? It's because it has to do with your vibration. We're always going to bring it back to your vibration. So if you're vibrating, about yourself, that is a contradiction to you saying, I want this great big desire. I want this wonderful, loving relationship. I want to feel that someone loves me. But the relationships where people are waiting for someone to love them so they can feel okay about themselves are the ones that break up, because there's no foundation of self-love.
Absolutely.
There's no foundation of self-love.
Absolutely. And people and people looking for that from validation from the other person to say, well, they're waiting for them to say I love you for them to feel any kind of joy. But the problem with that is you're waiting for the outside to come to you to be able to feel joy within yourself. And actually it's the other way around. And so many people are twisted by this, thinking that they get into a relationship thinking the other person's going to make them happy. It's never going to happen. Another person can add to your happiness, but they can't make you happy. Only you can make yourself happy. Only you can bring that love to yourself. Nobody else can do that for you. So if you're using other people's judgments as a way to say whether you are a good person or a bad person, or if you're doing things right, if you're doing things wrong, or what your everyday life is about, then you're again looking outside of the wrong places. And like you rightfully said, Christina, it's all about vibrating. If you're vibrating on a low vibrational level, in the sense of you're looking at yourself and you've got all these judgments of your past, your mistakes, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I made this mistake, I made that mistake, and you're dwelling on that, that's what you're vibrating. So you're never going to bring in that true happiness to you. And if you don't have that true happiness and self-love for you, you're not going to be able to manifest your desires around you. It contradicts everything, because the universe doesn't hear what you say. The universe hears your vibration. It's what you're vibrating out of yourself, right? Your words are just a cover up. And I can give you an example of when I was a kid, I was known as happy-go-lucky, because I always had a smile on my face. Until this day, I'm the same, always smiling, always joyful. However, excuse me, inside myself, I was hurting so deeply that, nobody knew the hurt that I was feeling within me. But on the outside, it just all looked pretty. And everyone used to say to me, how comes things are always like going wrong for you? Like you're always happy. And I didn't understand at the time. I thought by smiling and putting this face on that actually I could get through things. But the manifestations on the outside was proving to me, had I known at the time, that it wasn't what's going on the outside, it's what's going on the inside. So I think that is just so important to understand.
It's
that
vital.
That if you can't love you, right, it's so vital. And if you can't love you, how can you expect others to have that love and respect for you if you don't have that love and respect for yourself, right?
Exactly. And, I want to go through the problem of how that creates a vibration. When you don't love yourself, your goals and your dreams have a high vibration because they're about freedom, they're about love, they're about joy, they're about happiness, because you have this idea that what you want is going to make you happy. And the law of attraction is all about being happy now. It's all about your power being in the now. So cleaning up your self-love, creating a feeling of self-love. So what gets in the way? I've got a few things I've written down here. Unworthiness. If you have a feeling of I don't deserve, that is underlying, like Anthea just said in her story, and I think all of us can relate to this, because there's so many criteria, judgments heaped on us as kids, and our feelings about ourselves and the world develops from 0 to 7. At that point, our personalities, our characters, and what we've decided is true about ourselves is very much set. And it's a reflection of what our parents have said about us. It's a reflection of what teachers have said about us. It's a reflection of all sorts of things that are outside of us telling us who we are. And if you have a sense of unworthiness, that's an underlying problem that is creating a vibration that's lower. If we just want to do a simple, just a visual, if your goal is up here and it vibrates high and your vibration is unworthiness, or I have also listed doubt, and guilt. So you're vibrating down here at it could even be a subconscious level, but for most people, there is an awareness of the fact that they aren't feeling worthy, loving, and kind to themselves. And one of the exercises that I do with clients so much is I say, what would you say to a friend if a friend had done what you did? What would you say to a friend if a friend felt the way you do about yourself? How would you help them? Because we're so much kinder to other people than to ourselves.
Yes, Christina.
This is where we want you to really get that cleaning up how you feel about yourself is absolutely key to being a full, whole, high vibrating person that will attract what you want. So we just wanted to say that this is a topic that takes a lot more. There's like so much we could go into, right?
So much.
So this Thursday in our private membership, which is called the Master Manifestor's Path, we're going to be diving deep into this, and we're going to be providing really great tools and solutions so that you can develop that self-love. In the meantime, I invite you to be thinking about what is that underlying vibration that I developed when I was a kid, and that is because of what other people said to me, what's happened in my life that I'm judging myself about. Think about those things and think about how it is contradicting the vibration that is what you want, because what you want is a high vibration. And if you're not vibrating there with self-love, with good feelings in the moment, and cleaning up the subconscious negative feelings, then you are counteracting. So now what you want, it can't come to you.
Absolutely.
So I think, go ahead.
Constantly blocking. I'm going to say we're just constantly blocking it, aren't we? And I think this is where we're in that place of so many people don't know, they think they love themselves, but if they look at their manifestations on the outside and see that things are not coming to them, then they must realize that it's because of self-love. And like you said, the Master Manifestor's Path membership is something that we're going to really dive deep and providing solutions to how to love yourself more fully and eliminate those fears, doubts, and unworthiness and guilt, because that so many people hold that guilt and they don't know from even when they're like 4 years old, 5 years old, that something could have happened, and they don't know, and people don't know how to overcome this. And we've spent years understanding and aligning ourselves with this, and hence why we can sit here today as who we are and be able to offer these solutions to you guys. And so we want you to align with your desires and consistently be able to attract them and actually, really create that life for yourself that will be life-changing to you and the people you love around you. I mean, just imagine it, how understanding and being able to use the tools that we've got to provide for you, what that could do for you and your life in general. And we're really going to dive deep into this on Thursday. So I'm really looking forward to doing this, Christina. We're super excited about it.
Totally.
We have a delay.
So with that, folks, just know that every Monday we're going to be going live with a really important topic. And we want to provide you with as much insight as possible, as much great information. So look for our posts every Sunday, which will tell you what's happening in the group, what we're doing in the Mastered Manifestor's Path, and how you can join us if you want to. So we are happy to spend this time with you. And if you're watching the replay, put pound replay and give us some comments, give us some feedback. Has this been helpful? What topics are good for you? We actually have a list of topics we're going to do, but we also want to hear from you because your needs, your desires are important to us. Absolutely. So with that, I think I will end our live, and we will see you very soon.
Take care.